In the second Sicha for Parshas Mishpatim, the Rebbe addresses the end of Parshas Mishpatim, where there is a narrative about the back and forth that happened between the Yidden and Hashem through Moshe, including the words Nasa v'Nishma, the famous Nasa v'Nishma pledge. And there it says that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote a sefer. He wrote a scroll, a sefer habris, a scroll of a covenant. And there's a disagreement between Rashi and others about when this all took place. In the Torah, it's written in this week's Parsha, which is following the story of the Aseret HaDibros, following the story of the revelation at Mount Sinai. But Rashi insists that this took place before the Torah was given, and it's written out of order. And chronologically, it took place prior to the giving of the Torah. And what the scroll consisted of was Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the Torah up to this point. The Torah begins with the story of creation of the world, and Moshe Rabbeinu started writing the story of Bereshit from the beginning, and then wrote all the way until that point in history, until that present time. And he also wrote down, recorded the select mitzvahs that God had given the Yidden prior to the revelation at Mount Sinai, prior to the official giving of the Torah. Hashem had given them certain mitzvahs, previews, if you will, in the region called Mora. And the story part from Bereshit until that point, Moshe Rabbeinu wrote it the way it's written in the Torah. The mitzvahs were written just as an informational, not the way they're written in the Torah, because the Torah, those mitzvahs had not yet been given in Torah form yet. So the book consisted of two parts. The first part was written in the style that would eventually become the Torah, which is the history part. And the second part is the mitzvahs, which were written only as information and not written as a story part. And the book is called Sefer HaBris, the Book of the Covenant, that Moshe Rabbeinu used this book to create a covenant between the Yidden and the Torah and God before the Torah was given. The Rebbe says, according to Rashi, that this all happened before the Torah was given. This is a phenomenal statement to make, because the Torah being given was not just a matter of God handing over a certain collection of information to the Jewish people. When God handed the Torah from heaven to earth, after first descending from heaven to earth upon the mountain and giving the Torah to earth, by doing that, God did away in a historical fashion with the barriers that he had put in place between the spirit world and the physical world. That's why after the Torah is given, when you do a mitzvah with a physical object, the physical object is not only a means for a mitzvah, but it becomes an object of a mitzvah. It becomes sacred itself in many cases, because that barrier, that iron curtain that used to exist between heaven and earth, was pulled away when the Torah was given. And yet here, Rashi is saying that Moshe Rabbeinu created a covenant with the Jews and the Torah before the Torah was given. But God had not yet given us the ability to achieve what the Torah has to offer. And yet Rashi says this is what Moshe did before the Torah was given. So imagine, if Moshe Rabbeinu and the Jewish people reached up with all their might prior to being empowered at Matan Torah, prior to being empowered with divine energy at the revelation at Mount Sinai, the Jews pulled themselves up with Moshe's help as much as they could, and even to the point of creating a covenant with the Torah that had not yet been given. Imagine how much that improved their preparedness, how much that heightened their preparedness for the actual event, for the actual revelation, when God would create that covenant with them. But without waiting, they did everything that they could before then, and that put them in a far better place to be ready to receive it in the best possible way.